Okay, good afternoon, everyone. In the last lecture, we have covered this topic, that is sigma comparator. We have started your comparator topics, in which we have covered two comparators, that are mechanical types of comparators. Now, here today we are going to learn about the advantages and disadvantages of mechanical comparator. The part of mechanical comparator is nearly covered. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of mechanical comparator we study here. Then on the basis of the disadvantages of mechanical comparator, we will see the next type of comparator. So the disadvantages of this mechanical comparator are covered with the help of other type of comparator like electronic comparator, pneumatic comparator. So first of all, we see what are the advantages and disadvantages of mechanical comparators. So here the question asks as a state the advantages and limitation of mechanical comparator. So for 3 marks, this question may be asked in your examination. So let us see advantages of a mechanical comparator. Compact and robust in construction. So the mechanical comparator, as we see, sigma comparator as well as dial indicator, they are very compact in nature. They can easily manufacture and easily assemble. So they are compact and robust in construction. So construction is very easy, portable. So we can move them from one place to another place for various measurements in an industry. Suppose you are working as a production engineer or as a testing engineer. Suppose you are working as a quality engineer in particular industry. So at that time, you have to measure the dimension of a object at various places. You have to measure the dimension at initial stage in assembly line, then in middle stage, and also at the final stage. So the devices you can move easily from one place to another. So that's why mechanical comparator are mostly used in the industries, because they are portable in nature. They are easy to understand and easy to use, because as we already see, whenever the job comes in contact with this particular plunger, then simply this linear motion is converted into rotating motion, and you can read the value at your circular scale. So they are very easy to readable. Reading ability of the particular is very easy. A non-technical person can also use it with the help of experience. Suppose a semi-skilled or non-skilled person using this for a long time, so it will be familiar with it, so he can maintain the reading properly, he can read the reading properly. So they are very easy to handle and can set quickly. So setting them at zero position for various types of measurement is also very simple. Okay, so for multiple testing, you can easily set them at zero position. So the scale is linear and uniform, therefore accurate and reliable reading can be obtained very easily. So here one point is mentioned that scale is linear and uniform, so you can get the accurate reading, but the accuracy of mechanical comparator is always less with your electronic and pneumatic comparator. Why this is so? Because the parts used in mechanical comparators are all mechanical components. So these components may be worn out or wear out after some time after using. They are also corrode. Due to corrosion and erosion is also possible in mechanical linkages. So the accuracy may be vary. If we maintain them regularly with the help of your overhauling and oiling, then you can use them for the proper reading. Okay, so the maintenance is very necessary in case of your mechanical comparators. Then you can get the linear scale or exact reading from that devices. They are independent of any external power supply. This is the most important factor or advantage of mechanical comparator. In your exam, you can write this advantage at first, because they are independent. All other comparators or all other devices used for the measurement are need a battery supply or power supply. Okay, so whenever there is a power off or whenever the battery is discharged, So in that case, your work may be pending. So mechanical comparators are very useful where the power supply is inadequate. Okay. So they doesn't need any external power supply. So the accuracy is not affected by fluctuation in power supply. Also, the accuracy variation is independent on your power supply. In some electronic comparators, it may be happens that the supply voltage or current changes, the efficiency may varies due to frequency changes. Okay. Now let us see the disadvantages of mechanical comparator. These are some advantages. Now see what are the disadvantages of mechanical comparators. More friction and wear due to more number of moving parts. So the first disadvantage is your friction and wear is happen due to more moving parts, because as we already see in comparators, in mechanical comparators, in your dial indicator as well as in your sigma comparator, the most of the parts are mechanical. So that's why they are come in contact with each other, they are transferring their motion from linear to your rotational motion. So in this total process, they are came in contact with each other and frictions happens. So due to that friction and number of moving parts, they are comes to the wear only. Okay. So they may be wear out. Okay, that's why the life of the particular comparators, mechanical comparators, is very less as compared with the other comparators. Okay. Now less accuracy, they are less accurate, as I already told you why they are less accurate, because they are worn out after some time. Okay. Next, due to inertia of moving parts, instrument become too much sensitive, which lead to show fluctuating reading for small vibration. Therefore, operator find difficulty in obtaining a reliable reading. So what does this point explain? The inertia means what? The weight. Inertia means the particular weight of that moving parts is very high. That's why whenever they are transferring their motion from linear to rotational motion, they are fluctuate due to that inertia, and due to that fluctuation and vibration over your particular dial gauge, you are not getting the exact reading. Okay. So we have to wait for some minute to get stable that particular uh, pointer at a particular point. Okay. So most of the time when we are going to conduct a practical on your um, hydraulic machines like your Kaplan turbine and Francis turbine, so there is a availability of your meters over there, so that meter is also getting flickered. So you have already seen that how the pointer is flicker on that particular scale. So that flickering is the issue with your mechanical comparators. Okay. The flickering of the pointer is the issue with the mechanical comparator. The next disadvantage is your range of instrument is limited by range of fixed scale. So a particular instrument has designed for a particular range. For example, they are designed for a measurement of 0 to 100 or 0 to 50. So that scale may be fixed with the each equipment. So we cannot vary the scale during the operation. So we have to measure a upper dimension object from the particular instrument, then we require a higher range instrument. So there is a flexibility ratio of the particular mechanical comparator is very less as compared with your other comparators. And the parallax error are introduced due to pointer scale system. Parallax error is the same, that the pointer is flickering on your particular scale. So these are some advantages as well as disadvantage of the mechanical comparator. If the question asked in your examination as explain the mechanical comparator in details, so in that case you have to explain any one of mechanical comparator like dial indicator or sigma indicator, and mention these advantages and disadvantages also, as well as application. Okay. The application or characteristic part we are already covered in in your starting lecture of the comparator. So you should go through it, or I already provided this PDF with you. So you can, if I ask you this question in your particular assignments, so you must have to write down any one comparator with advantages, disadvantages and applications. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about the new comparator topic, that is pneumatic comparator. So what is mean by pneumatic? First of all, we see what is mean by pneumatic, then we will discuss what is a pneumatic comparator and how it is different from your mechanical comparators. So pneumatic means what? Pneumatic means the system in which we are using a compressed air technology to magnify the particular readings. In comparators, we have magnify the readings. The comparator device magnifies the readings or the difference of your actual reading and your uh, compare reading, or your actual reading or your reference reading. So pneumatic comparators works on your pneumatic principle, that is compressed air technology. So let us see what is pneumatic comparator. So generally Solex pneumatic comparator is most widely used in the industry. So the question may be asked in your examination as explain the Solex pneumatic comparator in detail. Okay, so basically you will find this question in your examination, explain Solex pneumatic comparator. Or if they ask only Solex comparator, then you should know what is a Solex comparator. The Solex comparator is a pneumatic type of comparator. Okay, so let us see what is Solex pneumatic comparator. So first, here the principle is mentioned. In pneumatic comparator, the variations in the dimension being measured with respect to reference dimension or standard dimension as shown and amplified by the variation in air pressure. Okay, so similar to the mechanical comparator, here also the variation in dimension is to be measured in between what? In between your reference dimension and your reference dimension means your standard dimension and measure dimension. Means suppose you have to measure a height of a particular cylinder, then the measure height you find and the reference height, the difference between these two you will get in the pneumatic comparator, and it is shown and amplified by the variation in air pressure. So in your mechanical comparator, the variation are shown on a dial indicator with a indicating point. In this case, we are getting the result in the amplified form by the variation of air pressure. So we are getting the variation in air pressure as a result of your particular dimensions. Okay, so let us see how it works. A jet of air is applied. A jet of air is applied. Jet of air means what? Like a jet of water you have already studied in your fluid mechanics. In jet of water means what? The high force water is coming out from a nozzle, so and that is spread over your vertical plate, so and that plate is rotating. So that is the case of your jet apparatus you have already seen in your fluid mechanics. Like that, a jet of air is applied at a constant pressure. Jet of air means a bunch of air is passing from a small diameter nozzle, so that will called as a jet. Okay, a jet of air is applied at a constant pressure through the orifice. Orifice means a small diameter hole. Okay, small diameter hole, or you can simply the part of nozzle you already seen. So orifices and your venturimeter are all, this part is already covered in your fluid mechanics. So you also know what is orifice and what is your particular venturimeter. So orifice is simply a small diameter entry point. Okay, so from that point we are passing a jet of air at constant pressure, and the air escape in the form of jet through a restricted space which exert a back pressure. So we can passing this, or this we can escaping this particular air from a small restricted space which exert a back pressure. Due to that, a back pressure on that particular air is exerted. The variation in back pressure is then used to find the dimension of the component. So this variation in your back pressure, whatever back pressure is applied on that particular jet, that variation in back pressure is utilized to find out the dimension of the particular component. Okay. Again explain this concept. What is the principle, or what are the, on which principle the pneumatic comparator works? A jet, we just pass a jet of air at a constant pressure through a small orifice, and that air is escaped from a particular small restricted space. Okay, due to that small restriction of that place, a back pressure exerted on that particular jet of air. So that exerted back pressure variation is utilized to measure the dimension of the particular component. Okay, this concept will be complicated to understand. It is not, it is very simple, but here on in online mode I cannot draw a diagram and cannot explain you like that way. So you just understand this thing. We see the construction and details, and you can understand how this particular pneumatic comparator works. Okay, so here they mention a Solex pneumatic comparator. What is a Solex pneumatic comparator? It is uses a water manometer for the indication of back pressure. So what is a water manometer? This device you already seen in your fluid mechanics lab. A particular U tube shape is utilized in which the Hg, that is mercury, is filled up, and you are measuring the difference in your height of right limb and left limb, and the difference in your height of right limb and left limb you have noted in your practicals, like discharge measurement through your venturimeter, line orifice meter. So in that case you have already used the manometer, but here we are not using the mercury manometer, we are using here a water column. We just put a water in that particular manometer devices, and the difference in the height of that particular limb is utilized for the indication of your back pressure. Okay, so first we have to understand the thing that it works on the principle of back pressure variation, first thing. And second, in Solex pneumatic comparator we use a water manometer for the indication of back pressure. Okay, so let us see what is the system. This system enables high magnification of order 30,000 with good stability and reliability. Okay, so it gives you the higher magnification. In your uh, previous comparator, like is your sigma comparator, the magnification is near about 500 to 3000. Okay, 300 to 5000. Okay, so this magnification we are getting 300 times to 5000 times, but here in your Solex comparator we are getting the magnification near about 30,000 with good stability and reliability. The result we are getting, they are very stable and reliable. Okay, so that's why Solex comparator are very costlier than that of your mechanical comparator. Okay, so let us see how they works. Such a high order of magnification is possible with this instrument because no physical contact is made either with the setting gauge or part being measured. Means what? In your mechanical comparator, most of the parts are connected with each other. They are transferring their moment from linear to rotational. So that's why there is a vibration occurs, and due to that vibration, your corrosion, wear, tear occurs. So that's why we are getting the less magnification ratio with less reliability and with less stability. But in this case, we are getting higher magnification near about 30,000 with good stability and reliability, because the reason behind is that there is a no physical contact made with each other while setting the gauge and while measuring the particular things. We utilize the air pressure, so that air should be in, the air pressure is in contact with that particular parts. No direct contact in between that part, so no wear tear, no erosion corrosion is occurs. That's why they are giving us a very stable magnification of 30,000. So let us see what is the construction of this particular pneumatic comparator. First of all, we see the diagram. I will explain it, and then we will see the construction. Always remember, if you are drawing a diagram, then there is no need of writing the construction similar as that of the mention in your book. You have to write whatever is mentioned in your diagram. Whatever the things you seen in your diagram, you should write that in your language. So that will help you in your examination. Don't need to remember these things, or don't need to recall every time. Okay, so just practice for this particular diagram. So the remaining things will be automatically you have written in your examination. So let us see what are the components in your pneumatic comparator. So here first, here is a one water tank. Height of water tank is given. There are some bubbles inside that water tank. Water is filled. This is the deep tube which is inserted in particular water tank. One end of this water tank is connected to the manometer, where manometric height can be measured. This manometric height is a difference of your water level from the bottom of your manometric to the level of your manometer. So H minus H is the difference between this particular two levels, capital H minus small h. Okay, then this is connected to the your this line where control orifice is given. Through this control orifice, it is going to the filter. One filter is provided. This is the air compressor. So air compressor compresses the incoming air and converted it the air with high pressure air. This air is passing from these filters and coming to this orifice or orifice. Some air is come inside that water tank. That's why this air bubble forms, and then this air goes to your gauging head. Okay. In this particular construction, we have seen a job under rest. This is a rest position. Okay, air escaping to space provided. Also here air escaping press provided, and as the air compressed air produce a pressure, this gauging head move in this direction. Okay, in this diagram also rotational motion is shown in this arrow, and this particular gauging block is also move slide in particular this mechanism. Okay, or this construction. So let us see how exactly it is constructed and how it works. So let us start. It consists of a vertical metal cylinder water tank filled with water up to a certain level and deep tube immersed into it up to a depth of corresponding to air pressure. As I already mentioned, one water tank is attached. Okay, this is a vertical metal cylinder water tank, and a deep tube is immersed in the particular water tank up to the depth of corresponding to air pressure. Okay, now a calibrated manometer tube is connected between the cylinder and the control orifice. So in between the cylinder, this particular cylinder and control orifice, this control orifice, in between them, one calibration, for the calibration purpose we have provided a one manometer. Okay, now working, how it works, let us see. Just 1 minute. Okay, let us see the working in details. If the pressure of air supplied from compressor through filter is higher than the desired pressure, some air will be bubble out from the bottom of the deep tube and air moving through the control orifice. Means we are supplying the high pressure air through this air compressor, and we pass this compressed air through this filter. If the air pressure is higher than that of the your pressure inside this air pressure or atmospheric pressure, then some of air is enter in this particular water tank and it forms the bubbles. Okay, deep tube moving through the control orifice will at be desired constant pressure. The constant pressure air then pass through the control orifice. Then this constant, some whatever the excess air pressure that may be enter in this water tank, and a constant air is passes through your control orifice. Okay, control orifice controls the pressure of that particular air, and control pressure air is passed through this control orifice. Okay, pass through this control orifice and escape through measuring jet to atmosphere, and escape this through measuring jet to the atmosphere. Okay, so this will be escape from measuring jet to the atmosphere. This is your measuring jet. Here the arrow shown, the air is escape from this point and from the bottom point. That's why air escaping space is provided. So whatever air we have supplying, control air we have supplying from this control orifice, that air is escape from this particular small area. Okay, okay, so let us see what has happened. But if there is a restriction to escape, to the escape of air jet, a back pressure, okay, there is only 6 to 7 minutes remaining for timeout. So let us, we have complete this topic. If there is a restriction to the, okay, a back pressure, if there is a restriction to the escape of air jet, a back pressure will be induced and level of water in the manometer tube will fall down. So some points the air air, the space here, the escaping space is very less, so that some back pressure is created, and that air is leakage in your particular water tank will be induced, and the level of manometer tube will be fall down. So this water tube manometer level is fall down. Okay, when there is a no restriction to escape the air, the level of water in the manometer tube will be coincide with that cylinder tank. Means what? Here the space available for escaping the air is adequate, then this manometer level and this water level are similar. Okay, and whenever the space for escaping the air is very restricted or small, then the level of manometer, water level manometer, level of water in your manometer get fall down. So here fall down of your manometric height is shown in this figure. Why this is happen? Because the restriction is provided for escaping this air from the particular gauging head, from the sprays. Okay, so due to restricted area at portion A, the back pressure is generated by the head of water displaced H. The manometer tube, as reference figure, is 2.8. To determine the roundness of the job, roundness means what? That job is not circular or exactly round or not. That roundness means the diameter of the particular object is equal in all areas. So that will called as a perfect circle or perfect roundness. Okay, if we measure diameter with the help of your particular micrometer screw gauge and your vernier caliper, so at various point if you are getting the various reading of the diameter, so means that the particular round bar is not round accurately. So here we are using this numerical comparator to determine the roundness of job. The job is rotated along the jet axis. So here we can rotate the jobs along the this axis, particular axis. Okay, particular axis. If no variation in the pressure reading is obtained, then it is concluded that the job is perfectly circular at a position A. Same procedure is repeated at various position A2, A3, and the variation in the pressure is calculated. Means what? We have put that particular rounded bar here and we rotate that rounded bar. Okay, if it is perfectly round, then the escaping area available for the air is equal at every point. Okay, but suppose at some point it is having not a round, perfectly round, then it cover the escaping area. At that time the escaping area is covered, then this water level get down. So by which we can easily calculate the variation in your roundness, or the bar is rounded, perfectly rounded or not, it can be find out. Okay, simply you can understand here in this diagram that round bar is inserted here at position a1, a2, a3, and we rotate it from particular angle. So due to that rotation, if the bar is perfectly round, then the spacing between these two particular areas is equal. Okay, okay, it is, if it is perfectly round, then the space available at this and this point is equal. So in next point, if it is rotated again by some degrees, like 30 degree, 40 degree, then at a2 point, if also it is round, perfectly round, then the area is also same. But if it is not rounded perfectly, then the space is available is varied, and your water level should be fall down. So by this fall down of your water level in manometer, we can get the reading of your particular ovality of that particular round bar. Okay, so this is the method. Also, the diameter is measured at position A1 corresponding to the portion against 2z. In the similar way, diameter is also measured at various positions along the length of bore. Any variation in dimension changes the value of h. For example, change in dimension by 0.002 mm changes the value of h from 3 to 20 mm. Means here one example is given that you can also measure the diameter. So whatever the variation in the particular dimension is happen, your water level should be fall down. Okay, so this fall down, the relationship between your change in dimension and fall down of water is given. So small change of 0.002 mm, if the water level is changes by 3 to 20 mm. Okay, means if the water level is down by 3 mm to 20 mm, means there is a change of 0.02 mm in that particular dimension is happen. So we can set this change at as per our convenience. So this is not the fact that it is exactly like that. That relation may be varied as per the practical purposes. So here one example is just this value is given for your example, that 3 to 20 mm drop in your particular manometric height will similar to your 0.02 mm changes in the dimension, but it is not exactly at every time. Okay, so here some advantages and disadvantages of numerical comparator as well, applications also given. So in the next lecture we will see what are the advantages of numeric comparator, disadvantages of pneumatic comparators, and application. Because the timeout is happen only 2 minutes is remaining, so that's why I have stopped the lecture. In next lecture we see this advantages, disadvantages part of pneumatic comparator, and also see the electrical comparator part. Okay, this is a small comparator, electrical comparator, simple diagram, so it will be covered. Okay, so your attendance, I have to take your attendance. Only 10 students present. Screen. Okay.